What is up, everybody, NC?
JC and
Here we are with an impromptu TWR news special report. So don't get me wrong, we got news coming on Sunday, but there's something that just caught my attention. And I just want to say, I looked on the timeline, I didn't see anybody in pro wrestling covering this. I didn't even see it under search. I was like, you telling me that we're the first to break this to you guys? So you better believe, we're going to give you a TWR News special edition. So if you weren't aware, I go ahead and I show it on X, but here's what's going on. Vanguard Groups Incorporated sells 300,870 shares of TKO Group Holdings. For those of you who don't know who Vanguard are one of the biggest whales out there, out of all stockholders. They own so much things that they control how things go. Same thing goes for BlackRock, which is another big investor at TKO, by the way. But Vanguard here, huge investor, a lot of big money behind them. They have, 7.5 million shares left over. But the fact that they chunked out 300,000 of their shares after Mania, that doesn't tell me that the stockholders have a lot of faith in Triple H or the faith in so much the company, for that matter. Now, Nick Khan, Mark, Ari, I'm sure they're on board to protect their boy. Sure. But when you look at cold, hard facts like this that nobody else out there is reporting, you can't dispute this. You can't dispute it. And let's go ahead and show the graph. So this is how it all started out. 5-year plan right here. So as you can see from TKO's inception, when they got together with Vince, they were on a good roll. Started building up money. Had a very nice WrestleMania. But then after WrestleMania, what happened? What's the one big thing that we know is that Triple H took over for creative. Mm-hmm. And what do you see? You see the drop. And then you see a little couple spikes right here. That's from Netflix. And then you go a little bit further. That's from ESPN, And then you see these drops. In WrestleMania season, look at the very end right here. The very end right here is where we're at, right after Mania. The stock is dropping. It's not going back up to over $200 like it was before. It will never go, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to go back up to 200 with Triple H in charge. Maybe if they make the right choices, it could. But with Triple H in charge, I don't foresee that number going back above 200. And a lot of WWE fans are like, whatever, I don't care about this. This doesn't affect my Mark wrestling experience on TV. What you need to understand is if big stockholders like Vanguard, which are huge, they own so many assets all over the world. If they are dropping out of TKO, they don't look at it like a cool thing anymore. They don't look at it like something that can make them money anymore. In fact, that's why they're selling off so much of it. They didn't back out completely, but the fact that they sold such a huge chunk, and by the way, their portion of stock, it's something that in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't seem like a big hit. This is a big hit when a company like this takes that much stock out. Once again, 300,870 shares. That's huge.
Mm-hmm. Well, and now to be fair, they've been offloading a lot of TKO stock since quarter four. Sure. And I got to point it out too. So I'm looking at Robinhood right now. The February 14th, 2025, the stock was at $175. So it did dip. It dipped from 175 down to 139, and then it recovered from then. But what happened from then it was the ESPN deal. Is they were able to announce the ESPN deal, and it was slowly climbing back up. Whereas you look now, and I will point out even before then, is it recovered in WrestleMania season. Like it did dip down March 14th. It went up March 21st, March 28th, and then right around April 11th, it started raising back up in WrestleMania season. Okay, well, let's fast forward 1 year. Okay, February 27th, the stock hit $223.87. In WrestleMania season, mind you, it dropped from $223 down to 180, if I can get the to 188. Okay, that's a pretty big drop, and you could see it when you go look up on the 5-year trend. It is a big drop. It does recover a little bit on April 2nd, but then it drops from then in WrestleMania season. There was no growth for the stock in WrestleMania season, really. Like, this is crazy because this has never happened before. And every other time you saw a growth in WrestleMania season. You go back to 2024, you could see a growth in WrestleMania season. 2023, a growth in WrestleMania season. This year, there was no growth. But what also happened this year? Didn't happen any other time. Did not happen 2023, did not happen 2024, did not happen 2025. They cut the ticket prices, and they publicly announced 25% off the ticket prices. And look at the stock price. No recovery, no rally.
And not only that, but no sellout for WrestleMania either night. So that's something big. And then we covered the Raw after Mania. The arena that they were in was the most piddly bullshit I've ever seen, dude. I've seen Dynamites in bigger arenas. For them to choose this arena after Mania, they're hurting. There is no doubt that they're hurting, and they're putting on a good, safe face right now to anybody that will buy their lies. That's what's happening right now. I think that there's a lot of fooling going on. They're trying to fool people into believing that they're successful. So I just want to mention Nick Khan. For those that don't remember, he sold almost 10,000 shares of stock back on April 6th. For a guy that is that tied in with WWE, that tied in with TKO, Mr. Corporate guy, always doing whatever he can to help out either TKO or WWE, for him to sell almost 10,000 shares, that's big. I know that's, whatever in the grand scheme of things to a lot of people. 10,000 for one person, not a company, is huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a sizable chunk for sure that he's selling off. And that's the thing is, like, now there's reasons why you would sell off stock, of course. Like, maybe you want to buy something, maybe you want to, who knows? But to be selling off this much stock right now, and I'm looking at the stock right now, and there's no recovery. And then I would also point to, it's like, where else are they going to get another huge source? Like, because 2023 they had sold the company, that was next. 2024, I believe, was the USA deal, if I'm not mistaken. No, I think it may have come later. 2025, you had the Netflix deal, or no, they had announced the Netflix deal. 2024, it kicked in on January 6, 2025. So they had that announcement. 2024, they had the announcement of USA getting SmackDown. So there was things to hype the stock, and then even earlier this year. No, actually, my bad. No, it was last year, right around November, I think. No, right around it was right around the summer of last year. They announced the ESPN deal.
Well, yeah, that's what I was pointing out in the graph, is that right after Mania, they had these deals that they were announcing, which would make sense for the spikes that they had. But shortly after those deals were announced, what do you see? Dips.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dips. Because the creative cannot carry the whole show. Right now, they're going off their deals. And once these deals are gone, once your big money makers are gone, like Brock Lesnar, like John Cena, and eventually Roman Reigns, you're fucked. Mm-hmm. Like Triple H, I'm sure, knows he's fucked. That's why he's trying to get his shit in. TKO probably have a grand idea. That's why they're trying to insert in all these celebrities that all the wrestling fans are fucking hating. They're forced to do this. And you have to understand that they can't outright just take Triple H out because of how embedded he is in everything. And the fact of the matter is that they take out Triple H, you got to realize that it's a situation where they piss off most of the talent who look at him like a father figure. It's going to very much be a situation where if they do this, it needs to be gradual, it needs to be transitional, and it needs to be Triple H backing out on his own accord. And I think this is a great way of them doing that, with them offering him that contract, him accepting it, but knowing that he can't fulfill it. Just our opinion.
No, for sure. And in my opinion, I believe that when Mark Shapiro said, we ultimately run creative, I don't think that was necessarily to protect Triple. I do think they're, because I ran with that before, and the more that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking what they're trying to basically say is, ultimately there's stability. When there's the big things that are involved, we are involved. And I think what they're trying to do right now is just stabilize everything. That's why they're trying to keep Triple H in that position. This is all my opinion. They're just trying to keep things stable right now and not have anything that's going to majorly rock the boat. Like, if Triple H leaves, Triple H is a integrated, unfortunately, big part of WWE, and if he leaves, you got to worry about, is that rocking the boat too hard? Could that cause the stock to drop even further? Maybe from their perspective, that's how Mark Shapiro and Ari, maybe from their perspective, that's how they might be seeing it. the problem with it is, man, is like those chickens come home to roost, and it's what we point out all this time, man, is that, if you have bad creative, it will affect the ticket sales. You will, and which will then look bad on the company, and then you will see the stock sell, as we saw. As I can look right now, I could see the stock drop from February 27th all the way down to where it is now, to 185. 223 down to 185. That's a pretty decent sized drop.
Well, that's what sets us aside from other wrestling mark podcasts out there, is that we will cover stuff that they won't. They won't cover the financials. They will go over this gloss of, Triple H, black and gold bangers, awesome, Penta got a 20-minute match, fuck yeah. They won't look at the fact that a huge investor, once again, like Vanguard, dropped out with, they're still in there, but 300,000 shares today, man. That's huge. I don't want anybody underselling that, especially with how big of a company Vanguard is. Like, you want to be real about stuff. Vanguard and BlackRock own so much that they control what you see and what you hear. Let's be real.
They own a lot. I mean, that's the thing. It's like Vanguard is what's called a whale in the market. Like, they own a lot of shares of a lot of companies. That's a pretty big, I mean, it's like 3% they've offloaded, but that's still a lot. That's still, or what they have left. I mean, that's still a lot in the grand scheme of things.
Well, let's pay attention to what's going to be happening going forward. I mean, will there be more whales selling off stock? I don't think they're done. And I think as they start to see the stock underperform and not go back up to 200, they're going to be like, yeah, let's go ahead and sell off a chunk here, sell off a chunk here. And I think we're looking at something that the stock price could very well drop down to about 150, probably post SummerSlam. I'd say give it a couple months, but if this trajectory continues, especially with no big stars coming back, lowered interest than ever. I mean, we covered it. The first hour with Obafemi and Brock Lesnar didn't even break 2 million. No. So, you broke you got, what is it, almost close to 3 million for the first hour on Peacock. You can't do that on ESPN. That's a huge problem. And I'm sure even ESPN is seeing that. Because we've heard about ESPN, we've covered it here on the news, that they are the most vocal out of anybody that has signed a deal. And the fact that they're being roped into this lawsuit too with WWE, I'm sure they're not too happy about that.
Why did Ari Emanuel, but my question is, why did Ari Emanuel feel like he had to bend over backwards for ESPN? They had to have Pat McAfee on the show. They're having all these crossovers with ESPN. Why?
To make it up to them. I think that's what it really has to be a lot about. And you have to understand, too, that ESPN, they're very cognizant of what's going on. They're very cognizant of the fact that they have these wrestlers show up on SportsCenter and that it's causing people to go in the comments and being like, what the fuck is this stupid, gay, fake wrestling shit that I'm seeing on my TV? Yeah. They realize that, dude, sports fans and pro wrestling fans, some may be here, some may be there, but for the most part, they do not mix at all.
For the most part, like your average sports fan will look at wrestling like, oh, that fake shit. Like that's what they always say. Oh, that fake shit. You know wrestling's fake, right? It's just how they operate. But like we talk about all this, we talk about TKO, we talk about Vanguard, we talk about all this because the people that run WWE now care. I mean, you look at the ticket prices, man. They care about money and profits more than anything else. And if something is getting in the way with that, in time they'll make the changes that they feel they need to make.
It's a money game. At the end of the day, that's what we're trying to tell everybody, because these pro wrestling marks, they want to view it for, okay, this is what I see in the ring. I don't care about advertising. I don't care about sponsors. I don't care about the stock price. I don't care about any of these stupid number things. And if you dare to bring them up, you're the one who's the fucking weird mark. That's what I love. Have you ever seen that meme of the fucking family sitting at the table and then they're looking up to the fucking white meme character that's up in the attic and they're saying, hey, you want to come down and tell us about the wrestling ratings again?
Yeah.
It's because these are what normal people act like. They do not look at pro wrestling as something respectable. And you want me to back up anything I say about these fans not appreciating the deal going on with ESPN, all you have to do is go under the comments. When ESPN promoted Cody Rhodes' match the night of WrestleMania, go check out the comments. Ooh. See how many people were like, what the fuck is ESPN doing? Why are you covering this stupid shit? And that's the thing, is like they can try to make wrestling to be the coolest thing it ever will be. You can't. You can't. And it's going to take more than ESPN to force that narrative down people's throat. It's going to take time. Everything that we're talking about, it can't be accelerated in a week. It has to take time because of all the cogs in the system and how much Triple H has embedded his nose system into everything.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, Triple H, we don't like him. We want him gone from creative, but at the end of the day, he is a very high up executive in that company. He really is. And so when you have a guy that's that public about the company, that much on the advertisements and in the spot and with the sponsorships, it's not easy to just kick him to the curb like a bag of trash. We would love to, but it's not it's not that easy. Like, unfortunately. So what you have to do if you're TKO is you have to have mandates in place. We want wrestlers to look like this. We want these types of wrestlers. We want a younger roster. We want more celebrities integrated, and you're seeing a lot of that. Like, when you look at a lot of the celebrities that they're bringing in, they've all got youth appeal.
Well, not only that, but I'm glad you were talking about marketable stars. Look at what's going on with the PC right now. Look at everybody who they're bringing in. They're bringing in, sure, that you got fucking guys like Will Cruz ending up on TV. But for the most part, if you look at these PC hires, they're all in fantastic shape. The dudes look like bodybuilders and the chicks look like supermodels. They're going back to what works. And I think that they're doing all they can to really appease their overlords. I mean, perfect example of that is RFK Jr., his niece getting signed.
Good point.
They're doing all they can to keep everything stable, keep everything good, and make it seem like, nah, the ship is not sinking. This is not the Titanic. Don't worry about it. This is good.
So NC, a theory of mine, and again,
Sure.
now granted, just to let everybody know, this is just a theory. I have no evidence to back this up.
Right.
I have some things I could point to, but I don't have any concrete evidence. Mm-hmm. My whole theory behind all of this is when you look at when you take the bird's eye view, from what I'm seeing, I'm seeing a company that is TKO. They are more hated by the fans than I have ever seen. Triple H is more hated by the fans than I have ever seen. And one of the things that you see with Mark Shapiro doing is he's constantly shitting on Vince McMahon. Oh, that was the WWE way. The TKO way is to make record profits. Now, that could be just to signal to the market, hey, we're different. We're going to operate differently. But what that tells me is that if they ever did decide to sell the company, what would happen? Like, what would happen if Vince decides to, like, it's all hypothetical.
Sure.
Right. What would happen likely? What would be likely to happen if Vince comes back with 14th and I with the Saudis, buys the company, and immediately lowers ticket prices, immediately announces a lot of the changes that we've been talking about? What would the fan reaction be if, we're going to immediately lower the ticket prices? What would the fan reaction be?
It would be a dissonance. On X, you would see a lot of pissed off fans. They can't stand the fact that Vince McHitler returned to his position. But you would see the casual fans, the families, the people who actually buy tickets and don't just bitch for free on the internet.
Right.
These people would probably go back to the shows, probably start taking their kids again, it would probably become a family thing again, which more than anything, I think a lot of people miss that experience, that family experience. And now it's just a fat nerd Mark experience. So that's one thing that would definitely be good about it. But you also have to look at it from the perspective of, would a lot of these stockholders still want to be on board with a perverted weirdo who likes pooping on a secretary? That's
honestly,
something to think about.
So from my standpoint,
right,
from what I'm seeing, this is all my opinion.
Sure,
I think that if the company, if they take the company, turn it private, cut it out of TKO, and then sell it to Vince McMahon and the Saudis, at that point it pretty much becomes something where it's like a vehicle for the, like, you're going to see that rehot season bullshit still, but what it becomes more likely is a thing to like do kind of doing what they're doing now with the Saudis, but there'd be no public stock. There wouldn't be any of that. What there would be is just put on a product pretty much that the Saudis can own.
Well, think about WWE's glory years. What were they before they went public?
Private company.
When they were a private company, they were in their glory years. And that was right around the time we got one of the best things to ever come to a wrestling fan in the WWE network. If Vince McMahon, if he could find a way to return with basically a shadow company where most marks wouldn't know that he's in control, but he still has some sort of control, even working with TKO for that matter, if he was able to come back in such a way and work through the weeds and lower ticket prices, bring back fans, bring back, superstars like we're used to, it could lead to, I think, I wouldn't say a wrestling renaissance, but it could definitely be a pickup in the ratings. Like, and that's the thing too, is like anything but Triple H at this point, and that's what we're looking for. Well, I don't know if Vince would be the best man for the job because he's getting up there in age, and he was even showing towards the end of his career that I'm sure he's hungry now since he sees his company tanking, but I just don't know if he has it anymore. I mean, sure,
he may not.
What?
He may not, but who has he been tying himself at the hip at lately? Who pointed with his son to Vince McMahon's Walk of Fame on the boardwalk? Who pointed to him?
Well, I mean, Shane's been definitely spending some
There you
more
go.
time with him, so Shane would be a great guy, and that's the thing that even Tony was talking about during the Vince Russo interview. He was saying that Shane didn't want to be an on-screen character. He wanted to take creative control, and that's something that you can't do with Tony because he's a billionaire. It's his company, So, yeah, it's
So
go for it.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but like
Yeah.
my whole theory in all of this, and again, not
Sure.
fantasy booking, not wishful thinking, just how I think about like what I think about this situation. This is all my thoughts, my
Right.
opinions. Is I think that Vince talked with Ari Emanuel a lot about like what he was planning to do with WWE, and because Vince has been in business for over 40 years, knows a lot of the power players, all of them, knew Ari Emanuel since the 90s. I think that they had conversations about like what they were planning to do with TKO. Vince knew about it, knew how the fans were going to react to it in the long term because he's been in the business for so long. He's got that experience. He just knows. He could come back. He'd be like the knight on the shining knight on the horse, coming back, marching back in. Hey, we're going to lower ticket prices. I could see how in the long game, and look at what we've seen. We want Vince. I believe that those were plants that were doing it because they just happen to have the mics right on them as they were saying, we want Vince. It's all a bit, it's too much of a coincidence in my opinion. I think that TKO had the plan to temporarily own the company, juice it up, get it whatever they could out of it, and then just sell it off to the Saudis with Vince. And
Which I support.
But to add on to that, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but like just to add on to that, Vince has the perfect company to make that happen now with 14th and I.
My whole thing is that scandal, since it's not fucking done and it's going to be a hot topic for a little bit.
Yes.
I personally feel that I can see you're going with the Saudi angle. I personally feel that they're going to find a way to get Vince back in the weeds with TKO and working with WWE because I don't think TKO is just willing to let something that they spent this much money on just go away to the Saudis. They're not that type of people. Maybe they are, but it's all hypothetical at the end of the day. Where I stand on things is I firmly believe that right now at this point, because WWE is in dire straits and because we heard the bring back Vince, fire Triple H chants, I firmly believe that, and this is just a hypothesis prediction, I feel that Vince McMahon is already working with TKO. And I feel it's a situation where what they're doing is they're keeping contact with him. And they're seeing what works, what doesn't work, like you were talking about, because he has so much experience. But more than anything, as a publicly traded company, you can't put a fucking pervert who poops on his secretary back in charge. That makes you look like shit and your stock will fucking drop. That's well known. So I think it's a situation where TKO is trying to get their cake and eat it too. They're having Vince on the down low, work with them, and try to get some shit implemented and maybe even shadow book a little bit, just our hypothesis. And in time, when everything dies down, kind of like Tessa Blanchard racist chants, when everything kind of dies down, you seep Vince back into the product. And I think that's what their ultimate game plan is. Because I for whatever reason, I just don't see TKO giving up on WWE just yet.
I don't think they're going to give up on it just yet. But what I will point out is that all of the like this massive rise in their stock price, in my opinion, is coming from their mega deals, coming from their ESPN deal, their Netflix deal, their USA Network deal, the Saudi deal. But all those deals are locked in. So it's like, what other massive mega deal are you going to announce if you're TKO? That's going to rival the ESPN deal, like anything. Like name a substantial deal they're going to announce. Is it for the video library? Are they going to sell that? Oof. What are you going to get for? Like, what are you really going to get for that?
Well, that's the thing too with the video library is I would really hope they try to hold on to that with all the assets that they got.
They can't sell it. That's right, because they have deals with Netflix.
Well, yeah, the deals with Netflix and all the other deals that they have, like
and ESPN.
And I isn't their deal with Peacock? Don't they still have some WWE content on there? Not a whole lot, but a little bit.
I think it's just Saturday Night Main Event and maybe a few other things, but yeah.
Okay. All right, but that's what I'm saying is there's still other deals where it's kind of all spread apart. Not only that, but I think they've been preparing with that with the WWE Vault. I think in due time the WWE Vault will be what it's supposed to be, but that's why they're kind of sparingly just updating it. I would love it if they kept the vault just for the simple fact that we could have the network back. And
Sure.
don't get me wrong, like, we're thinking of what could possibly be. If you take everything back to, let's say, for example, let's go with yours. Let's go with Saudi and Vince getting together and buying WWE, making it private again. That makes it a position where they can put Vince at the front if they want to. I personally feel that it would do a lot to drive a lot of the fans away because the controversy is still hot. He's still involved in a very toxic scandal. So I'm perfectly fine with him running the company if they have to go that route. You know, if you can't get Brian Gewirtz, you can't get Jeremy Brash, can't get Undertaker, but you need somebody stable, you go with Vince. Makes sense. But at the same time, you got to let the shit die down. You got to bring back the network. You got to make the company private, and you got to lower the ticket prices. Like, if you have everything pre-existing and they can carry in all these deals with them, WWE will flourish and thrive again. They just need to do it the right way.
And the deals also make it valuable. Like if the deals are about to run, like if TKO is like saying, you know what, we're going to sell the company in like 3 years from now, maybe whatever deal they get would heavily depend on whatever they could get for like a Netflix renewal, like if that gets renewed, because Netflix does have the 5-year opt-out option. It's a 10-year deal, but they can opt out after 5 years. ESPN, I think that's is that a 5-year deal? Yeah, that is a 5-year deal. So they got 4 more years left on that. Like they have time, but the point that like the thing that I'm seeing is that I don't see what's gonna pop the stock, pump it up even higher. Like what other mega deal is around the corner that's gonna do that? And I'm just not seeing any. Like I'm not seeing any, and then I'm seeing them having to mark down ticket prices. Vince, the whole thing with Vince, Vince is scheduled to go back into court with Janelle Grant on June 14th for like deciding, is this going to continue to trial or is this going to go to arbitration? If it goes to arbitration, then PR kicks in. This whole thing is behind Vince, and TKO could be free and the clear to sell the fucking thing for billions and billions of dollars. Like they stand to make a lot of money selling this.
My whole thing is that, like, here's the whole thing about Vince, is that he's just not another eccentric billionaire. No. Here we have multiple stories about him engaging in strange, weird poop orgies. Sure. And this is something that the public consciousness isn't going to be like, yeah, let him back in. Yeah, right. Yeah, he's a good old boy. They're going to be like, dude, he's a fucking weirdo. Like, and don't get me wrong, we already knew Vince. We've known for years that Vince is weirder than you even think he is. Trust me, we know how fucking weird this guy is. But at the end of the day, we separate who the person is from the artist, and we know that he can do a lot for WWE, bring back a lot of fans, and make a lot of wrestling fans happy. And at the end of the day, that's what matters more than, you know, any preconceived notion of how you view the guy. I'm just saying, that's not an ordinary scandal.
It's not. No, it's not. But what I would say is the way the way 14th and I is structured, it's structured like Vince is the managing member of 14th and I. And then you have two other subsidiaries of it. You have 14th and I Business and 14th and I Investments. And those, like, the business side of things would be run by, if it's Matt Blow or whatever his name is, Vince's long-term business guy. He would be running the day-to-day business operations. Vince would mainly be the guy that runs the holding company, pretty much. So, I mean, it's very likely you may not even see Vince back on TV. That's incredibly it's very possible that you may never see him back on TV. It'll just be maybe Shane will be on TV, maybe The Rock will be there, and that's another thing too. I think very well could happen is I think The Rock has been with Vince for a long time. I think that if they do this, I think The Rock could be involved in it, and I think The Rock could be the front guy for 14th and I WWE Saudi. I think that's what it could be. But again, this is all hypothetical. This is all wishful thinking on my part. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball or whatever that
looking glass.
The looking glass. I don't have the looking glass, so I don't know. But what I do know is I can look at the stock price right now for TKO Group Holdings. It is down. There was no WrestleMania bump with the stock as opposed to other years. I'll look at the fact that they're having to mark down. Yeah, they're having to mark down ticket prices, which they have not had to do before like this, especially for WrestleMania. The chickens are coming home to roost. Like the question that I ask is, how long can this continue? Marking down ticket prices until they go, you know what? We've made all the money we can on this. And a similar thing happened to a company called Dell. Dell, they realized, like, we've made all the money we can out of the stock price. Let's just turn this private and not have to deal with the regulatory BS.
Well, that's why Like, in my opinion, my theoretical example, I feel that TKO is working with Vince on the down low.
Yep.
And I think that they're working with Vince on the down low to try to save their investment. Because if anybody knows how to save WWE, it's the man who pretty much made it. I'm sorry. I know people say Vince Sr. made it. Dude, Vince Jr. made it. Shut the fuck up, okay? That's Vince's baby. Nobody knows how to fucking operate. Nobody knows how to take care of their baby better than the father.
I mean, if we're being honest about the WWF, it was some fucking little rinky-dink indie territory in New York. Vince came along, took it, and made it into this international phenomenon.
That he did. He's a very strange, weird genius, but he is a genius, even to this day. And I firmly believe that TKO knows how valuable he is, and that's why they're working with him on the down low. Like I said, this is just my prediction. This is what I think is happening. I don't have any confirmed sources on it. But from what I see on TV, the Bring Back Vince chants, especially during Stephanie's Hall of Fame speech, so it's not just a week ago, no, it's or 2 weeks ago. They're doing it more often, man. Like, this is something you're going to hear on TV more often, especially as Triple H is failing at his job and not doing his best. I think that they're really working with I think they're really working with Vince McMahon to get his vision back on TV.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's what they're seeing is a lot of the fans they're tired of the TKO way. They want to go back to the WWE way of doing things, where it was like, oh, well, the tickets are much more affordable, where you could actually afford to go to WrestleMania. Like, I watched some video today of like some guy, like he paid through On Location to go to WrestleMania. The guy got a gift box of like playing cards, casino chips, and a Funko Pop. Now you're thinking, okay, this thing is like, look, how much do you think that thing would have been worth?
Well, it's, reminds me of is like one of those mystery boxes that you can get in the mail for like 20 or $30 a pop, and you get like a fucking shitty little Funko Pop, you get a keychain, and then you get like maybe a T-shirt made out of toilet paper if you're lucky. That's what you usually get.
How much do you think that box is worth?
It's the type of box that they're probably selling for $50, but you could probably find it at 5 and below on markdown for $250. Just saying.
So do you think it was like worth like $200 maybe, $300? Like
how much do I think they charge for it? Okay.
Yeah, how much?
Okay, I'm gonna guess he paid $75 to $100 for it.
Oh, baby, you're gonna love this.
Go for it.
It was included. It was factored into his whole thing.
Sure.
$6,000.
Dude, and that's the thing too. Is like you gotta. A lot of people look at like TKO, you greedy motherfuckers. They're just trying to make money back on their investment. That's what it all comes down to. And they realize that if they take out Triple H, it's going to piss off pretty much the entire roster and probably drop their stock price down a little bit. So they're having to do what they got to do, man. It's sad. It's just sad what it's going down to, but it's not forever.
No.
Don't be fooled by the fact that Triple H signed a long-term contract. I firmly believe that he will not be able to fulfill it. I'm not saying he's dying or anything like that. I just think he'll have to medically step down. That's just my opinion.
It very well could be, but it's not forever, and it's already when you're having to aggressively mark down ticket prices for WrestleMania, that's not a good sign.
No, it's not. And that's the thing too, is you're going to see markdowns for Backlash, you're going to see markdowns for SummerSlam. In fact, during WrestleMania, they were doing a 2-for-1 special on SummerSlam. That's pathetic. That's fucking pathetic. So I'm telling you, I know, and it's only going to get worse, especially. You got to think how bad it's going to be when they have to go back to foreign markets and they can't overcharge them. Because that's the one thing we've seen out of a lot of these foreign markets, especially over in Europe. They keep on coming back to the same place thinking that they can charge up the ass. The fans are getting tired of it. You're not seeing, you won't see Clash at the Castle, Scotland every year. They can't go back to Scotland because they already tapped it out.
So would you say that TKO strategy is not sustainable for the long run?
I would say the Triple H strategy is not sustainable. I think TKO is doing all they can to make money on their investment, and they're doing all the right things right now. That's how I really can't fault TKO. They fell for the lies of Nick Khan, because he's the main liaison between TKO and WWE. They fell for the lies of Nick Khan, and now they're basically having to make do with their shitified investment. It's like, for example, it's like you start going out with a Supermodel 10. And she's like a bad cook. She's terrible in bed. It's just like she maybe like poops herself. She does stupid shit. But you keep on dating her for the status symbol of, fuck, man, at least I'm dating a 10. That's what it is.
It's all worth it. So what if she poops the bed and it bit my dick off? It's all worth it.
It's all worth it. Hey, I got a 10, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what they realize too, is like, it's a situation where I'm sure they like to have that stability, and I think that's what Triple H is. Triple H to them is that stability that keeps the roster happy, keeps the marks online happy, doesn't rock the boat at all. And that's what they want, is they just want that stability. So don't hold on to anything happening, like as far as like Triple H. He's not going to have a 5-year run. Netflix, I don't even think they're going to fulfill that deal either. You know, you see everything on the stage and you know what's going on, man. So, and then again, who knows? It may not be the end of the Vince McMahon allegations. Who knows? Maybe they take another look into other allegations, because trust me, he ain't done. They're just catching on to a couple of them.
But like the thing about that is that all Vince has to do is just transfer owner, make Shane McMahon the managing member of 14th and I, and all those problems go away.
True, but at the same time too, it's like here we are, and this is the thing, man, is Vince is only getting older.
Mm-hmm.
Like
81.
Would you want to put a 90-year-old man, no matter how good he is, at the top of a company? I wouldn't.
No, neither would I, which is why I think Vince is now cozying more and more up, and Shane is cozying more and more up to Vince, which is why I think that the future of 14th and I is Shane McMahon, and I think that the future of WWE is 14th and I.
I just see, that's the thing, is I would love it if TKO would play ball with Shane right now. I mean, maybe they're easing him into that role, and it would make all the sense in the world if you're going to have Stephanie on TV. You got to eventually have Linda on TV. You can have Shane on TV. You know, it's like, it makes all the sense in the world to bring Shane in and use him in some aspect. And maybe we'll see that. I think a lot of it's going to be small incremental changes happening. Small incremental changes until you finally see a better WWE. Will it be what we want it to be? No, it's going to still be a fucking Disney theme park. But maybe it might be a cooler theme park. Who knows?
Well, I mean, the thing with it is that we rightly complain about Triple H's lazy fucking bullshit creative, and the problem with it is that it is affecting the tickets, and like the fact that Ari Emanuel had to, or not Ari, Mark Shapiro had to come out there and say we ultimately run creative. You saw it take a lot of the heat off Triple H online. A lot of retards out there. The Triple H is not the problem. Mark Shapiro said that they want company, they want creative, and you want to say to this guy, it's like, they don't have the time to run every storyline. They deal with the big business decisions. They're not booking Alexa Bliss for Charlotte Flair, okay? I can promise you that.
That's why I tell you, man, don't argue with X marks. They are some of the dumbest, low IQ motherfuckers. And they're not just on X. They're also on Instagram. They're also on YouTube. You will see these dumb fucking Triple H sympathizer marks sympathize with Triple H over the smallest thing. That's the thing, is they're fickle. Like Daniel Bryan said, the fans are very fickle. They'll love Triple H one day, but then he pisses off them, does a bad booking decision. They'll hold his feet to the fire, but then they'll go right back to loving him. They love doing that. They will never hold his feet to the fire completely. They'll always let him get a little breath of fresh air. It's just how it is.
Absolutely. And you know what I could see them doing too, those TKO bastards, is my opinion, is that I could see them seeing this and doing some fucking spite bullshit of, let's do a stock buyback to pump the stock up just to temporarily prove them wrong.
300,000 from Vanguard, don't lie, dude. That's a huge corporate entity taking out a giant cut.
Well,
so
and the fact that article was posted today, May 1st.
Mm-hmm. First ones to report it on the internet, out of at least the wrestling sphere. So I love bringing this to you guys. So let's go over Christopher Dominguez was saying earlier. I don't know where his chat is. I think it's up here. About helping him out. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad I can help you guys out. Anytime either my brother or I can help you guys out, we like doing it, man. We're always for our people. So, what was it? Sam and Jord was saying, appreciate it very much. I don't think that they can ever truly come back to glory. They went too far from Vince's vision. Can't see myself becoming a fully invested fan of WWE again. It's going to really take them getting back into Vince's vision. And that's why I feel on the download they're talking with Vince to try to see what he would do in a situation like this, to see how he would work it out of the bag. He's still a very smart guy, but, he's getting up there in age. I feel a lot like you, Sam and Jordan. It's just one of those things. I don't see it being one of those, those picture perfect things where Vince takes back over. We get the network back. WWE goes private. The ticket sales, they drop. It becomes cool again. It's too much of a utopian pipe dream to accept. Maybe in due time, but I think it's more likely that we would see small incremental changes towards getting better. And that's why I don't want to trash TKO too much, because they're doing the best they can to save their investment right now. You have to look at it from the outside of not as a pro wrestling fan, but more so as somebody who holds a business. You know, you buy into a huge business like WWE, you need to make sure you protect your investment. And when you got a big giant, a big whale like Vanguard, who owns a lot of stuff all over the world, dropping out like that, not good. Just saying.
Not good. And I'm going to, like, not to inject too much hopium
Sure.
into this, but, like, we know that Shane does not like Triple H. For a long time, they have not liked each other. If Shane takes over 14th and I, and 14th and I and the Saudis acquire WWE and take it private, you think Shane's going to want to have Triple H there?
Well, and that's what people need to realize, is that there's even stories coming out about, of course, Shane not liking Triple H, but another big one is that even Brock Lesnar does not like Triple H. We could have told you that. If you listen to us, you would have realized who likes Triple H and who doesn't, and who is a Triple H guy and who isn't. All the people that you see retiring right away, they aren't Triple H guys. No. All they're trying to do is just basically kind of like in a way like AJ Styles, get a paycheck and not have their legacy fully tarnished.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to, like, make money on the way out and then maybe come back when if Vince ever does come back. I mean, and again, like with Brock Lesnar and John Cena, The Rock, they know Vince personally. Oh, yeah. They're probably talking to him. They're probably having conversations. Again, like, my gut feeling on this whole thing is that, like, I can feel something big coming. I don't know what it is. And I don't have, like, evidence to back up my gut feeling. It's just, I have this gut feeling of something big is going to happen. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like something is going to happen. And I'll point out too, man, like this whole Janelle Grant thing, if this is behind him, then he pays a PR team to get to work, clean up his image. Vince can come back. It's not impossible. Do I think I agree with you, NC. I don't think it's very likely in the role that people want to be, like, this very public, yeah, I'm back, strutting down the ramp.
Right.
I think he'll come back in more of a business role.
And that's the whole reason why is, like, it's so hard to publicly come back as the face of the company when you were having weird sexual relations, cheating on your wife with a secretary, and very weird, strange poop orgies with other business guys. Mm-hmm. That looks fucking weird. That's one of those scandals. I'm trying to think of other big celebrity scandals that kind of come close to that. None come close to that. And I'm being real. I'm talking about, like, Charlie Sheen. I'm talking about, like, the biggest of the big. None of them come close to what Vince McMahon did. Not even Hulk Hogan with the Gawker suit. That doesn't even come close to what Vince did. Especially if all of that is true. Like, if he was this fucking poop-loving orgy pervert that cheated on his wife, that's not good, man. And that's that with even the most golden, goy fucking PR team out there. I'm sorry. You can have Goldman and Sachs. You can have the biggest top-level financial advisors, lawyers, whoever working for you. You cannot save that image. I'm sorry.
Which is why I think the future is Shane. I think Shane McMahon is the future of all this. The more I think about this, and I think and we've been saying for a while now, like, this is the guy, because he's risky, because he is a McMahon, because he's highly intelligent and he's driven. This is the kind of guy you want in that top role that Triple H is in now. You don't want a fucking lazy dumbass like Triple H running that, because you're going to get the lazy product you're getting now. You put Shane in there. Oh, God.
You can't compare people that are in jail to a guy that's not in jail, man. People are saying not you. The chat is saying R. Kelly and P. Diddy, dude, they're in jail. You can't compare them. Let's talk about free men, free rich men involved in popular scandals. And Danny Masterson doesn't count too. What do you do? Like, diddle around with two chicks from Scientology? Come on, give me some real names here.
What we're talking about is like big business people. Like, we're talking, like, how many of them are in this kind of, like, weird poop scandal? It is hard to come back from. Yeah. But to that I say, like, Vince clearly has a succession plan in place of Shane McMahon taken over. This is all my opinion, but this is just what it looks like to me, is that he's got Shane tapped to be the next guy to run his company. And if that's the case, we're in good. Shane can come. Shane is squeaky clean. Shane can come back. Shane is a good family man. He's not having weird poop orgies, at least that I know. You know.
But that's what I'm saying is you guys can't compare actors. Like Harvey Weinstein is a good one. This is a very good one from CM 2.0 because this is a guy who was actually a high-level businessman that had corporations and controlled things. That is a very good point. Productions company, exactly. Low-level fucking Hollywood actors? Come on, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick, but just come on. I'm talking about big fucking powerful fucking people. No dead people either. They got to still be alive. Just saying. Yeah, can't be in jail, can't be dead.
Well, yeah, like we're talking about like powerful business people that are in these kinds of scandals. Like, yes, there have been like sexual harassment scandals, but how many have there been like where he's like been pooping on secretaries and peeing on them? Like that's a bit weird. I mean, it makes sense for Vince McMahon if you know what makes him laugh, but it's weird, man. And I don't know. Like I agree. I don't know if you can come back from it from like a PR perspective. Which is why I think Shane is the succession plan. That's how I feel.
And don't get me wrong, the cause did have a lot of power. Not so much now. Vince still has a lot of power, even involved in a scandal like this. Think about this. How many times has Bill Cosby beat the feds? How many times has Vince McMahon beat the feds?
Good point.
Right there.
Good point, man.
So, Sam and Jordan was saying, love you guys. Thanks again for all the great content. I appreciate that so much. Thank you very much. I'm glad to provide for you guys. Batman said TK has the advantage. He should take it. I honestly, I agree with you there. I completely agree with you there because think about it this way. If TKO is in fact looking to sell, Tony Khan is a squeaky clean billionaire with no fucking blueprint. With no, no carbon trail. He's good. Like this guy, I have tried looking for dirt about Tony Khan. You will not find any. No. There is no dirt on this guy. He is the cleanest billionaire promoter that I've seen out there. And the only one comparable to what, I know, it's like night and day between their products, but with their business sense, only one comparable to Vince McMahon.
But see, I don't want him to buy it because I think you do need to have competition. Like, you're kind of like, because I feel like it would recreate what we had in the Ruthless Aggression era where it was like, you didn't have the competition forcing WWF to be, what they were. And so I think with WWE and how integrated they are with the Saudis and how familiar Vince is with the Saudis and WWE is and TKO is, I feel like a more likely deal. Because like the way I'm looking at this like, I don't know if the Khans are going to be able to afford the kind of deal that the Saudi PIF can shell out. Like I'm looking at like maybe 15, 20 billion, like just an insane amount of money that I don't know if Tony Khan could shell out. Whereas I think Vince, The Rock, and the Saudis could make that kind of a deal work.
I don't like putting that out there because you and I both have a pretty good idea that we try to keep a tight lid about, and that's we're getting close to World War III. There's no backing out. It's not going to fucking get lighter. Shit's going to go down, and it's going to go down in Saudi Arabia, and this is going to be something that's not going to. Yeah, they're going to be looking for entertainment, but I don't think it's going to be a priority when there's wars going on in their country.
Well,
just saying.
Well, but the thing about that is, like, with the Saudi, like, a lot of their Saudi PIF money, that big slush fund, a lot of that is invested, like, that money comes from OPEC, from the oil, getting the oil out of the Strait of Hormuz. If it's getting harder and harder to get the oil out of their country, they're going to be looking to diversify their assets into maybe buying WWE, maybe buying another company. And that's the thing, is like, I could see if this continues to go on, Saudi could be under pressure to diversify even further.
At the same time, you know where oil's going.
Sure. Yeah, which is why they're diversifying. The Saudis have a 2030 plan, so to do that, because they're aware that people are going to begin with more electric cars. They're going to become less reliant on oil. Again, like I'm not trying to like create like a pie in the sky, get people's hopes up only for them to be dashed. I'm not trying to do that. Right. What I'm saying is just what I'm thinking. This is just how I feel and what I'm thinking about.
No, absolutely.
I could be totally dead ass wrong.
No, and my whole thing, though, is, like, I firmly believe, like, this is where we're both in agreement, that Vince needs to come back in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
We're both in agreement with that. Our ways of executing are just different, and that's totally fine, and I love that. I love that you would like very much for Vince to get together with the Saudis. I'm trying to look at what's happening in the world, and I don't think that's a priority. Then again, I do feel that TKO wants to save their investment and that they're working with Vince on the down low. It's not the first time we've heard that rumor. I feel that there may be smoke to that fire, especially with the bring back Vince shit. At the Hall of Fame, these post press conferences. I feel this is just, like I said, prediction, hypothesis. I feel that Vince is working with TKO
And do you think that when Mark Shapiro says, "Oh, we're not doing things the Vince way, we're doing things the TKO way," do you think that can almost be kind of a smokescreen?
Absolutely. Because you see, everything that we've been seeing lately, they're doing a lot of Vince stuff on TV. Like they're really bringing back the piped in booze, and they're trying to get over people like Logan Paul, like JC Jane. And don't get me wrong, they're great heels, but that definitely is something Vince used to do back in the day. Like to get you to hate a heel, to get you to hate a dude.
And to tie in, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but to tie into what you've been saying, to add some more weight to it.
Sure.
There was a report that just came out about WrestleMania 40, about Vince was the one booking in the weeds for that. And ever since then, it had been garbage.
And what was Jim Ross just recently saying? What did he just recently say? He said, I firmly believe that Vince is still working with TKO. Yeah. So this isn't just us making this shit up, or me for that matter making this shit up. Jim Ross knows a lot of people still in WWE, and you better believe he has conversations with them about what's going down. I mean, especially for a guy that used to have as much power as Jim Ross, I don't think he's a stranger to WWE so much. I think he's still very much in good contact with a lot of people who have power over there, so to speak.
Well, and what I find odd about like the timing of the wrestlers, like John Cena retiring, Brock Lesnar retiring, like they're doing it like all at once, like it's all like very, very close together. And what makes me wonder is like, are they planning a big grand comeback when Vince, because like these are like, Brock is a Vince guy, John Cena is a Vince guy. They love and admire Vince. Brock has even said as much on the Pat McAfee show. John Cena said it multiple times. Is it possible? Just a question. Is it possible that they're retiring now because they plan to come back once Vince puts us all behind him, buys the company back, takes it private, and then they make their grand like, hey, we're coming back, because Vince is back. This could be the case. Now, again, do I have like evidence of this? No. This is an opinion of mine.
It's believable though. I mean, just you have to look at the fact that they all retired around the same time. They're all Vince guys. They love him, and
even AJ.
No, for sure. I mean, you got to look at the grand scheme of things. You see Triple H noseman hires getting fired during the WWE spring cleaning. I think, and here's the thing that you need to keep in mind too. What did Zelina Vega say on her stream? She said, usually I get a text message from WWE. This time it was from TKO. Just saying.
Now, people will push back and then say, well, yeah, because it's TKO now, because TKO, it's all like WWE and UFC or TKO. Okay, granted, I understand that. The problem with it is that when you look at the people that are being fired, these are also not Vince people.
That's what I'm saying, is like Vince would never go and re-sign Malachi Black or Zelina Vega. He wouldn't go and sign a lot of the people that got cut. Yeah, like we were going through this list, Kari Sani, this is not somebody who Vince would sign. This is a noseman darling. Like just about everybody on that list that we saw, noseman darlings. And who did they keep? This is the one thing that I want people to pay attention to. They kept people like Nikita Lyons. They kept people like Lola Vice. They kept people like Carmen Petrovic. They kept people like Fatal Influence. They kept all the marketable women in NXT, if you notice that. Like, sure, they got rid of fucking the Japanese fat material in Kari Sani, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, they're keeping a lot of attractive women. They're calling up attractive women to take the spots of these hags that are getting fired. So I think I see a lot of Vince's mindset in what they're doing on TV right now. It's
how silly it is.
And the silliness too with the gingerbread man, Danhausen. There's more sketches, there's more scenarios backstage, more beatdowns. There's a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about for a long time that is very Vince-esque you're seeing on TV. Because you got to understand, Triple H would never in his wildest dreams want to make Danhausen one of the top guys in his company.
No.
He's never been a comedy character guy. I mean, you might point back to DX. That's because he was in the center role. He doesn't want to push any comedy characters. Never has. Even in NXT, he never made any comedy characters. And if they were, one that came close, I guess, would maybe be Juice Robinson when he was doing the Earther gimmick. But even then, he was a jobber. Like, whenever he's made a comedy gimmick, even, it just doesn't matter who it is. Whenever he's made a comedy gimmick, R-Truth, for example, like, look what we did with R-Truth. Completely erased the comedy from him.
Well, look at what Triple H did with R-Truth. He fired him.
Yeah.
Nick Khan had to bring him back because of the fan backlash. What I think happened. This is all my opinion.
Sure.
What I think happened is after WrestleMania 40, they did break up. Vince, they completely separated, broke that tie. I think as of late, that tie has been reconnected with Vince, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot more Vince things on TV, a lot more Vince characters. And I'll also point this out when you look at the Wyatt Six. Vince fired all of this, with the exception of what's her name, Nikki Cross.
No, she got fired too. She was
No,
part
no,
of it.
no, 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 no. What I mean is that, like, Vince had already fired these people before.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. No, absolutely. No, yeah, he had already canned all those names before. And Triple H, we saw last time when he came back from his little medical hiatus, he rehired all the people that that Vince fired. Like, rehired all of them.
Didn't Vince fire Kari Sane too back in the day?
It wouldn't surprise me. I bet you anything if we looked at that spring cleaning, that Kari Sane was part of the list. Because I remember, what was it? I remember, what was it? Bailey coming in with Damage Control for some, like, random SummerSlam. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And I was like, they re-signed these chicks? I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, I don't know. But it feels to me like all the people that we saw that were fired recently, we were kind of befuddled because we're like, these are Triple H hires. You know, he had to be crying firing these people.
No, I mean, I'm pretty, like, he brought them in. Like, that's the thing, is like, he brought them in. He brought Malachi Buttcrack in. He brought them all in. And so the more I look at this, like, let me see if I can.
Well, and one thing I got to say too is just because Vince has very slight input in the show doesn't mean he's running the show. Like, I don't want to get people get my fucking words twisted here. No. What I'm saying is he's giving them advice. It's up to Triple H's creative to implement it. Because what you have to understand, it's like basically Vince goes to TKO, is like, yeah, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And then they're like, okay, I'll tell Triple H. And then Ari gets on the phone with Triple H and he's like, no, okay, yeah, Vince stuff, bye. And then he does what he needs to do, but does his own half-assed way. So you have to understand it's a filter through a filter through a filter until you get this shit slop that is modern programming.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like, I think, well, and we also got to look at Bruce Pritchard too. Yeah. Like, that's the thing also, is that, like, Bruce Pritchard is still on the team, and Bruce is a long time Vince guy. Bruce has been with Vince since like 1990, and in a creative role.
Yes, no, absolutely, and that's one thing that people need to understand too about, like, let's say for example, Just Prime. No, we completely understand how you feel, Coach. I get it, man. I get it. Trust me. Just Prime was saying Vince made Asuka and Kairi Sane women's tag champions back in 2019, 2020. What I would say to you, Just Prime, is Triple H was booking for Vince back then.
Yep.
So,
well, especially because, like, back then, like, that was it, because, like, Triple H did not really step back from that role until like about 2020. Like,
he stepped in 2018.
Yeah, no, he had a high up creative role even then. Like, it was really until like 2020 when he had to step back, and then he had the heart issue in 2021.
Sure.
And then you notice Vince changed everything about NXT and fired all his darlings. And one of the first things that happened when Triple H came back to the board is, all of a sudden this information about Janelle Grant was leaked to the Wall Street Journal or whatever it was. Oh, wow. And what a coincidence. And what a coincidence that the three people that benefited from it were Nick Khan, who became the co-CEO and president of the company. Stephanie McMahon became the chairman and co-CEO of the company. And Triple H became the head of creative. Gee, it's almost like they had something to gain from it.
And you have to realize, too, Vince does not sign foreign acts unless they can talk. And let's be perfectly honest with Shinsuke Nakamura, Asuka, Kairi Sane, and even Julia. They're not the best talkers. While Julia is trying to learn to talk, I'm sorry, she would not be somebody that would be on Vince's radar. She'd be somebody on Triple H's radar, just because she doesn't have much experience competing over here in America. That's what he pays attention to, is somebody who is competing more in America. They're going to be used to an American crowd, and they're going to know how to speak perfect English. That's something that Vince was very high up on. He did not like pushing a character that couldn't talk unless they had a manager for them. Now, would he do that for Asuka after he saw who she was? Of course. I think that Asuka definitely warmed up to Vince. That's why he made her world champion. Well, I shouldn't even say he made her world champion. That's why he was okay with Triple H making her world champion. So, just saying.
No, absolutely. Well, and from what I'm looking at right now, I think Kairi Sane, they let her contract expire in 2021, and then she came back right around 2023, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Which is right when Triple H took over. So there you go.
Makes sense, man. So Sam and Jord was saying Vince wouldn't have even signed Io Sky. Straight up, brother. Straight up. In fact, he would have released her immediately if he took over a year ago, and Rhea wouldn't be pushed like this. Well, see, here's the thing. Let me push back a little bit on Rhea. Because people want to give Triple H all the credit in the world for creating Rhea Ripley. No. That was a Vince McMahon creation. He created her in Judgment Day. Because if you saw the Rhea Ripley that came over from NXT, she just looked like a buff lesbian with blonde hair.
Yep.
What Vince did is he's like, dude, let's make her gothic. Let's dye her hair black, get her some more tattoos, really just delve into that dark side of hers. And that's where we have now the modern day Rhea Ripley. Sure, she's gone through some transformations, but Vince is responsible for giving her that character because Triple H never gave her a character at all. I don't think she would be pushed to this level, but I still think she would have a prominent push just because she's a young talent. And she does a good job of playing ball backstage. She was always very friendly with Vince, always went up to him and said, hey, what can I improve upon? He had to teach her how to block on camera because Triple H didn't teach her how to block on camera. Fucking idiot. So,
well, and that was a normal complaint even back then of like
right.
The talents who would come up from NXT, they didn't know how to cut a promo. They would sound very wooden and robotic, like they hadn't rehearsed this at all before in NXT.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So it's a situation. No, I completely agree with you. I think that Vince, he didn't have an eye for Asian talent unless they were like very physically charismatic or could find a different way to get over. Like the only one that I think that he was kind of okay with, and even then he didn't make him world champion or anything, is Tajiri. That's about it. Because Tajiri fucking bled physical charisma. So
well, and that's the thing with Japanese talent that Vince has had Japanese talent in his company for a long time. Whether it's Taka Michinoku, Tajiri, even back in the 90s. Who was that bitch that they brought over from New Japan?
Bull Nakano,
yeah,
they had Bull Nakano, which was a huge name in ladies women wrestling, and you saw how long she lasted in WWF. You know, just saying.
Well, yeah. So it's like, but what I'm trying to say is like, Vince bringing in Japanese talents is nothing new. He's done it before, all throughout time.
Right.
Triple H goes overboard with it, like bringing in like an Asuka or a Shinsuke Nakamura because they got physical charisma. That's understandable. Like Asuka's very pretty, very charismatic. That makes sense. But when you're bringing in like you got like 4 Japanese women on your roster, you're bringing in more Japanese dudes that aren't like these are Triple H, because Triple H looks at wrestling from the standpoint of this is a sport. These are athletes having an athletic competition, whereas Vince always looked at it like, no, this is a parade of characters.
Well, the difference is Vince is going for money and ratings, and what Triple H is going for is IWC likes and star ratings. So it's a completely different aspect. You have a mark and a businessman. The Triple H is the mark. Vince is a businessman. He's looking to make his business money. Triple H is just looking to run a sandbox fucking fantasy fed, basically.
Which could be why TKO, you're hearing them more and more publicly announce that they have creative control, that they can overrule Triple H.
True, which is
good. They
didn't
do that before. They didn't do that before.
Well, and keep in mind, too, this was the year of revelation. In previous years, Triple H could do no wrong. In 2026, especially after he started siding up with Donald Trump, the hate for Triple H was immense. It was immense, like we've never seen before. I mean, chance of fire Triple H, bring back Vince, in less than a couple years. That's the thing, is like we gave Vince decades, and it took decades before the fans to finally kind of turn on him. They turned on Triple H. They were loving him. They turned on him in less than 3 years.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I know, look, I know that, to go back to the whole Kari thing, I know Kari left to go get married and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
But Vince could have brought her back.
Absolutely.
That's the thing, is Vince could have brought her back. Of course, it was Triple H that was the one who brought her back. Now, granted, she wanted to get married, wanted to go back to Japan. We've heard this before. This to me, and that's the public reason, for all we know. And like people have gotten married while on the WWE roster, so it's like it's not necessarily like they had to go back there. You know, like she had to go back to Japan to get married. No, I mean, she could have stayed with the company. They could have given her a little bit of time off. I don't know. I just to me, I think that Vince clearly has a preferred roster type that he wants.
Oh, yeah.
And Triple H has his own type. And you see the difference. Like, bringing in Evil from New Japan, that's a Triple H signing. Through and through.
Well, one thing that Vince always got, and we even go back to, like, you want to look at, like, the Attitude Era. You have to look at a guy like Mick Foley. so many people, industry veterans, had to sell Vince McMahon on Mick Foley being brought to WWE and then in due time becoming a world champion. Because Vince didn't see it. Vince just saw, this fat slob who was a stuntman. He didn't see the promos, the physical charisma, his heart, He didn't see who truly Mick Foley was. And then once he got to seeing him perform in one of the most highest rated segments that he's ever put on, and This Is Your Life with The Rock, after seeing that, he's like, okay, I got to give this fat slob the belt. He wouldn't do that for a guy like KO. He wouldn't do that for a guy like Sammy. But he'll do that for a guy like Mick Foley because he's always had a type. He wants it so that they pass the airport test. When you see them in the airport, you're like, that's a WWE superstar. You're like, oh shit, who's that guy?
Vince has publicly stated multiple times, there's nothing more boring. He literally said this on the Stone Cold podcast. Like, there's literally nothing more boring than men wrestling in their underwear. True. Or fake fighting in their underwear. He's literally said that. He said that in interviews. And so, what Vince wants, right, at the end of the day. And I think Vince probably had Triple H in his ear saying, yeah, well, it's not what you want. It's not even really what I want for the most part, but it's what the fans want. And I think Vince's like, if it's what the fans want, shit. Now, I think that could be all part of it.
And that's a good theory. My personal theory has always been Vince was so busy with other shit doing deals in the meantime that he didn't have that he didn't really, and maybe that was a plan. Anyways, allegedly. Anyways, I feel that he was so busy with other shit, making deals happen, trying to make his company as much money as possible, that he was taking a step out of creative and letting Triple H get more power and take over the show for him. And I'm sure he was like, the ratings are still kind of close to where they used to be. But then, before he could really have a chance to rectify it, he got ousted. Funny how that works.
Yeah, and Vince got ousted. And that's the thing. And then right after, it's like Triple H all of a sudden becomes the head of creative. Stephanie becomes the CEO of the company and the chairwoman, and Nick Khan becomes the co-CEO with Stephanie. He's the other co-CEO. It's like you look at who gained out of that, and then who were the first people to vote no on Vince coming back. And back in family. January 2023, Nick Khan, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon.
Well, and then you see, Vince's birthday party. You don't see any of those people that we just named there.
Where was Stephanie?
Exactly. Well, just the fact too that you don't really see them in any pictures anywhere. You think you find one random family photo of Triple H and Steph came over to the McMahon barbecue. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing, is Stephanie in her Hall of Fame, because people are going to bring up, what about the Stephanie McMahon Hall of Fame when she said, I love my dad? I would say, if they love each other so much, why wasn't she at his birthday party?
Absolutely. You would figure that somebody who truly loves you, they're going to be at your big party, That's just saying, so.
And Stephanie's a multimillionaire, and she had nothing. What did she really have better to do at that time where she couldn't be at her father's birthday party?
I think we have an idea, wink, wink. Just saying. Yeah. Sam and George said Rhea is insufferable lately, by the way. She has an opinion and a gripe with everything. Oh, I know. She looks like more of a freak every day. It's not for me, guys. And I completely understand. I get how you view my whole thing with Rhea is I don't view her as a top star. I get where you're seeing.
Same.
Is she decent enough for the upper card of WWE? Yeah, she is. Is she young? Could she get better in time? Sure. But what we've seen over our time is we've seen panic attacks. We've seen her not being able to handle the spotlight. Maybe it might get better if popularity of WWE dies and less people are there. Who knows? Maybe that might cure stage fright, but could be. No, we can't stand the whole lesbian storyline. We can't stand what's going on with Io Sky. We don't like any of this shit. We don't like the lesbian weird shit. The fans are even done with it and saying, get rid of this fucking angle. And I guess they're maybe moving on to something else. But even then, what Rhea does that really drives me nuts, and I'm sure drives my brother nuts and you nuts as well, and a lot of the chat, is she goes and bitches about everything. She uses her ex account as her personal diary. And that's fucking retarded. I feel as a superstar in WWE, you have to take the John Cena route. If you got drama with somebody, don't fucking let everybody fucking know like an unprofessional jackass, like a little kid. Keep it to yourself. What people like her don't understand is that you're not only making yourself look bad, you're making the company look bad because they made you the world champion. And what it's showing is that you can cry like a little bitch and just basically have beefs with your own employees and not get along with anybody and make little snide remarks and get away with it. I mean, shit, look at CM Punk. I haven't heard about him being pulled into the office for allegedly assaulting 2 fans on WrestleMania weekend.
Well, right, and and that's the thing. It's like at the end of the day, I think if you make money for the company, you get leeway.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's really what it comes down to, and I think that Triple H, he gives Rhea a lot of leeway, because she
too much
kind of looks like China. Just saying.
Reminds me a little bit, China if she had work rate,
Yeah, pretty much. So, Batman was saying Kari left the first time to get married, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
Maybe the rumor was right about this time, is that she really wanted to go back to Japan to spend time with family. That's very much a possibility, and maybe it was Triple H was just helping her out. But then you look at all the other noseman hires that got fired. Let me ask you a question. I would ask to anybody who's trying to make sense of the firings. Why would Triple H spend so much time building Malachi Black up into this top superstar on SmackDown, put him in the background of these Randy Orton vignettes, Pat McAfee, Cody Rhodes vignettes, making it seem like he's going to be set up for a top event feud? We've even heard quotes that at one time Road Dogg and Triple H consider Damian Priest and Malachi Black to be their Rock and Stone Cold. And I firmly believe they think that way too. I don't think that's made up.
They're looking at the work rate.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like if they're looking at the work rate, he's showing Malachi Black that he's going to position him in a top role, and then he just gets yanked like this. This is, to me, the Malachi Black yank is more noticeable than the Cross yank, because Cross was a mid-carder.
Oh, yeah.
With Malachi Black, they were looking to build him up to the main event, to make him eventual contender or world champion.
Like what you just said, they were literally planning. That was the plan. Like before Pat McAfee was shoehorned into the main event, and thank God they shoehorned in Pat McAfee, because the plan was to put Malachi Black and Zelina Vega into the feud.
Damn. That's terrible. And that's why I'm like, people that please, like, I know you want us to do a top 10 sucks on TKO. Look at what TKO is. They're doing their best to play all sides, yet make us happy. To have a WWE, a modern day 2026 WWE, as fucking lip-tarded as everything is, for them to try to do the right thing and try to make fans like us happy, I'm not going to knock them. I can't knock them, because I see that they're trying. And you got to understand too, just because it don't show on TV right away doesn't mean that the bells aren't working backstage, that the cogs aren't turning. Shit is going down. It's just, you got to give it time. I would say that to any fan, you got to give it time.
You got to give it time. Just wait and see what happens. But yeah, man, like the one thing that we can't ignore is the ticket sale, the drop in the ticket sales. It's not a good look for the company when you're marking down the tickets to your biggest show of the year over 20%, over 25%. Like that's never good. And there's been no WrestleMania bump. And like, what other mega deal do they have around the corner? It's all a mystery, really. Like about like what this next mega deal is going to pump the company back up.
Well, you know what? Let's have some fun, man. Let's have some fun here. Let's go ahead and think about what could be a possible big deal for WWE on the horizon. The only one that I could possibly think of is them ditching 2K and getting with EA Sports. I think EA could do a better job on WWE. That's just me. But
like I'm talking like a multi-billion-dollar deal.
I'm talking about any sort of deal at this point, man.
I hear you, man. Yeah.
Let's talk about any sort of media deal. I don't care if it's video games, movies, TV. What do you see on the horizon for TKO and WWE?
Well, what I see on the horizon, I think they're going to try to figure out a way to license out more of their content. I think that's probably what they're going to be looking to do. They're going to be looking to bring in more celebrities. They're going to be looking to bring in The Rock maybe for an appearance. But I think for a deal, they're probably going to be looking for another play, because they got this huge library of content. Yeah, they're putting it up on YouTube right now. Right. But I still think they're looking for a home for a lot of it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably going to be where they're going to be made. And it's not going to be like a huge multi-billion-dollar deal, but they're going to be able to get money for it. And there's a lot of places out there right now that are just hungry for content. You know what one of those platforms might be? Tubi.
Tubi could
Nitro on Tubi.
It could. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Tubi is buying fucking everything right now.
Mm-hmm. They got a lot of money.
They do got a lot of money. I don't know if they would be able to jump on that after the abysmal views of Evolve. Maybe they would. Maybe they're like, shit, maybe people want a retro fix. But I think even Tubi has to be like, dude, why did we fucking put this shit show Evolve on our channel?
Well, the problem with Evolve is it's like a niche of it. Like the NXT
True.
is a niche.
Absolutely.
You know, like and Evolve is like a niche of a niche. But like with like Nitro and old ECW shows and you see like the stuff on Tubi, like they can get a little raunchy. You know, they can really be adult oriented. You know.
Oh,
like
dude,
boobies and all that. Yeah.
I've seen boobies full bush a lot on Tubi, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so like I feel like that is a platform where there's not much interest in Evolve, but there would be a lot of interest in like old Nitros, old Thunders, Shotgun Saturday Nights, things like that. I think that could be a home for a lot of that content, and I think that's probably what they're going to do. Is they're probably going to be shopping out the content.
You know what I'm surprised they haven't done yet, and this is even like when Vince was in charge. I'm surprised they haven't tried to make a co-deal with like Six Flags to have a WWE land, you know, like a WWE theme park.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done that. I mean, now granted, it would probably cost a lot to build, but you could still make a lot of money with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying is just take like one of these like theme parks that are underperforming, like a Knott's Berry Farm or you know, some shit like that, and just redesign it. You know, you rebrand it. You already have the infrastructure. Just go ahead and, you know, put on a new ride or two, remodel a ride or two, and make a WWE land. Fuck it.
It's like a roller coaster. You call it like the last ride. You put like the Undertaker on it, and you give it like the logo, paint it black and shit. Yeah.
Heck yeah. And then you could have like the rock bottom would be one where like almost like the Matterhorn, like somewhere where like you rise all the way up and then you drop fucking all the way down. You know, almost like the Superman ride. So the ideas are there, man.
Dude, that honestly, I could see that having a lot of wrestling fans going to it.
Oh yeah. It would be a big money thing, especially if they are able to use a lot of the veterans and the legends. Like a ride based on Stone Cold, a ride based on The Rock, you're right, The Undertaker, all of the big, huge names. I'd even like to see like a 619 ride. I think that would be like where you spin around in a fucking circle, almost like a carousel type thing. Like there's all they would have to do is take a lot of these rides, rebrand them, put the right designs on them, and you got basically a WWE theme park with like different rides for each superstar. I think it's honestly, it would have been the perfect idea back before, you know, the economy got real hit. I like 2015. I really think they should have gone for it. Just saying.
Oh, for sure. What do you think about like this is going to be really shitty to a lot of the people that follow these WWE wrestlers, but like locking down, like making their feed subscription only. Like you have to subscribe and pay like TKO money. Like I have like reroute it so like the TKO gets paid every time that you sub to Rhea Ripley to see her posts.
I mean, I think they're trying to do that with Club WWE. That's what I really feel they're trying to do is they're trying to migrate a lot of the social media users that they have on there to an experience called Club WWE for those that haven't seen the commercials. So basically what it is it's basically like a behind-the-scenes VIP type treatment where I'm sure you have to pay a little bit more, but you get extra content from WWE. And I'm sure that hardcore WWE fans would like that. Do I think it's the best idea right now when WWE's popularity is failing? No. But that's the thing is like all the ideas that we're discussing, we're just trying to think of any sort of new deal that WWE could do to bring in any sort of revenue. And at this point, the options are running out, just saying.
And that's my point behind all this. Yeah. Like, what other mega deal on the horizon is there?
Yeah, and even then, me personally, about the video library, I, in my time, don't ever see them selling the entirety of it. Maybe a portion, but never the entirety.
Well, no, I mean, and a lot of that content, and that's the thing, is like, how valuable is it really going to be? Like, is it going to be worth, no. Hundreds of millions? Probably not.
True. And that's the thing, too, is like, I would really hope Fox would be able to get it, but with especially shows like ECW, you got to get the licenses to all the music that they used back then. So it would probably be like the ECW that you saw like on Network that had like the fake stock music in the background. Either way, I'll take it. Fuck it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you still get the those fucking hardcore badass matches they were putting on.
True.
You still get the unhinged chants from the crowd. Francine sucks. You know what? Doo-dah. You know.
That's what I'm saying is like they have an open opportunity. Tubi does, especially with the fact that they're one of the few free streaming services out there that doesn't censor the shit out of its stuff. You can find everything on there. So. I think it's a great thing. Sam and Jordan was saying Vince would have loved Grayson Waller. He's a very funny and charismatic guy. I agree. He would have been pushed. Triple H hates guys with personality. Well, and the reason why I agree with you on that is because look at how much I personally felt Austin Theory and Grayson Waller gelled as a tag team. Vince loved Austin Theory. If Vince could have made the next top draw, I think it would have been Austin Theory in due time. I think he saw so much potential with that kid.
Oh, I mean, he was literally like making him like the guy. He was getting behind him. Had him in those meetings where he was showing him the pencils, like, yeah, I think you know what this means. Yeah,
shove it up your ass.
Yeah, you know what to do with
it. Yeah, and you could see him, like anybody that gets that personal on-air time with Vince, he's the type of guy, he's very open with his character about how he feels about a wrestler. I'll never forget, like, when Seth Rollins came into his office, or he was already in his office and he had his feet up on his desk. And Seth's like, hey, what's up there, Vince? And he sits down and he puts his feet up and Vince is like, get your feet on my desk. You know, and just no warmness at all for this Triple H hire. And then you go ahead and you see a guy like Austin Theory, and you're like, when is he going to unzip him and take care of him, you know? You know?
Well, and I think with Becky Lynch, I think he looks at her as like, you know, he's Irish, she's Irish.
Yeah, and same thing with Finn. Yeah,
with Finn, and then he built her up like Triple H didn't do anything with her. Probably the least important of the four horsewomen in NXT. She goes to WWE or to the main roster. Vince makes her into a star.
True, and he did all he could with her, but even then, you saw Vince give up on her, kind of like what Triple H is doing right now. I mean, you can even see it with Triple H. The fact that he has, let's look at this. What's left of the four horse face women who were originally his top girls in NXT. The fact that he's got all of them in mid-card positions says it all. He's given up on them. Bayley's about to go over to AEW come summertime. Charlotte's in a tag team with Alexa Bliss, not competing for the title. And then what do you have? You have Becky Lynch holding a mid-card title. Mid-carder. They're all mid-carders.
Yeah. Like they're not like holding top championships anymore.
Yeah.
They're being deprioritized. They're being pushed down.
And that's what we're saying. Is like it's one of those things like we didn't want to see them deprioritized, but you know, it was all on their own booking. And a lot of it is also on their own egos. Like they they smoked their own dope. Becky smoked her own dope. Bayley smoked her own dope. Sasha definitely smoked her own dope. And Charlotte is still smoking that dope and needs to stop.
Seriously, my God. Like, and that's the thing. It's like they didn't they're not. They were never massively over. Like honestly, like Becky was probably the most over out of all of them on the main roster.
Well, because she had a character. Yeah. Exactly what you said.
But it was a character.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is that she, at least in the... Here's what I can give to Becky Lynch. She's not the most talented to do it, but at the end of the day, at least she has something she can transition to. If she becomes a comedy actress, she'll do fine. I think she is a pretty decent comedy actress. I definitely think since she went to clown school, not even a joke, you're a natural comedian. You've always been a goofball. I've always looked at you like that. You're just like, let's be honest, she's Nikki Cross with a push. You know? She's a goofball. She's a goofball. She's a goofball from Ireland, from Scotland. Pretty much same area. Anyways, she's a goofball from over in the UK, or in the British Isles, whatever. And she never really became anything more than that. You could put on the fact that she got a bloody nose and sold some t-shirts. She's still a goofball at the end of the day.
And then at the end of the day, it's like, how much longer is she going to be able to be in the ring and wrestling? She's getting older, you know, just go to acting. Like, and she already is with Star Trek now. It bombed because, you know, it had Becky in it, but, you know.
Because she was serious. That's why. Serious. Notice every role that she plays with as a comedy role. Happy Gilmore 2 was great. It didn't bomb in the box office. It did well.
Yeah, it did well. And I think that's God's way of trying to say, Becky, I made you to be a jobber. I made you to be a jobber comedy act. And that's what she should be.
Straight up. I mean, and hopefully she realizes that, you know. Seth is not going to realize that. This fucking Mark, if he has his way, he'll be the next booker after Triple H goes. How bad is that?
That's what he wants. Is that going to happen?
No, I think that's the thing. I think TKO, Mark Shapiro, and Ari are doing a good job to save face and shake hands and make like everything's right. But they know who the marks are in the company. They know who the ones are that make money and the ones who don't make money. Seth and Cody and Gunther do not make money and never will. I'm sorry. They never will in their entire life. If they had proper booking, maybe. But at the end of the day, even with Vince booking, Vince gave up on most of these. I mean, look what he did with Cody. Had him as Stardust. I mean, sure, he's the guy that went and re-signed him, but it's not like he could book him the way that he wanted to. I mean, shit, all that shit with Janelle happened right around the time he signed Cody. So it's not like he could even take care of Cody. But then who was the other one that I just named? So you have Cody, you got Gunther. Look at what he did with Gunther. Completely fucking was like, I don't want this guy on TV. Straight up.
Yep. And this, I mean, like you could definitely see the era where, like, right around, like, I think Vince had very minimal involvement with creative, but he had a lot of input and guidance for WrestleMania 40. I think after that time period, that's when the lawsuit really got intense, and Vince just couldn't be a part of it. And that's right around the time when 14th and I became a thing, and you just saw Vince become less and less involved with it. And I think that what you're saying about Vince maybe coming back to TKO is not crazy, because you're seeing a lot less from The Rock.
Well, because Rock's got a lot of shit going on with $7 Productions. He's getting his own production studio going. He's definitely become more Hollywood. And my personal feeling is, I feel like, we'll see a return of The Rock on screen once Triple H is off. Once Triple H is no longer an on-screen character, I think Rock would be the perfect transition for that, and he'd probably be happy to do it since he hates Triple H. But my personal feeling, I feel like Vince is very much incognito mode working with TKO. Just an opinion.
And that's my opinion too. And again, these are opinions. It's just how we feel from what we're looking at, from what we're seeing here. But yeah, I think that looking at the stock, looking at the fact that there's really no major deals around the corner that's going to pump the stock up. I don't like. It's going to get to a point where it's like they're going to probably do what Dell did and go, you know what, we made all we can with the stock. It's as high as it's ever going to be. Let's just turn this company private and sell it for just a massive amount of money to the Saudis.
No, I would love to see. I would love to, like, for the top Saudi investors out there that were actually looking at, originally getting WWE. I would love to know how much they would pay market value for it nowadays. Because remember, like, back in the day when we were talking about the strong possibility of Vince getting in with Saudi and buying WWE, like, before the TKO takeover. Remember that? Do you remember anything about who Vince, like, specific names, who Vince was getting in with the Saudi investment fund?
He wasn't necessarily getting involved with people with the Saudi investment fund. What he was getting into was with the Saudi royal family, which
Saudi royal family. There you go.
Which ultimately control the Saudi PIF.
Right.
It's their monarchy. They can do what they need to do to get things done. But yeah. So, like, I'm looking right now, and the thing with, like, when you look at the TKO Group Holdings market cap, you're going to see it says 36 billion, right? 36.10 billion.
Right.
But that's the combination of them and UFC. So it's like you got to factor in, like, what's WWE worth? Okay, WWE is probably worth 13 billion, 15 billion, somewhere around there.
I mean, in both scenarios, I think there's weight. And the reason why I think your scenario has some weight to it as well is you have to consider that Fight Island is over in Abu Dhabi. Saudi Arabia is entrenched with MMA. If they get UFC, they'll be happier than pigs and shit. Trust me.
If they can get, I don't think they're going to buy TKO. I think that's I think that Ari and Mark like being in the TKO business, or the UFC business for sure. The WWE business, I don't know if they like being in it. You got to be, like, way too involved. Like with UFC, it's just you let Dana White run it and boom, there you go. Whereas with WWE, you got to get all involved. You got to have these celebrity crossovers. It's a big pain in the ass. The stock is looks like it's reaching its pinnacle.
Sure.
So sell it when the stock is at an all-time high.
No, and I get what you're going with Dana. I mean, that's a big misperception, though. Dana, he's basically a spokesperson. He has no power whatsoever. He's basically like a less powerful Triple H.
But I mean, but he books the fights, right, with UFC?
No, it's all Sean Shelby, I believe. It was Silva before him, and then Sean Shelby took over as the official matchmaker. So he's the one who does a lot of the legwork, just doesn't get the credit for it. It's all, like, people give Dana all the credit. And I get it. He's the face of the company. My whole thing is, I feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like Saudi would rather take the role on spending money to get UFC and have that as an asset over WWE, which is kind of losing popularity. It's still very popular in Saudi Arabia, don't get me wrong. When they do these Saudi shows, they do well. I think that one last show that they did looked like garbage with that fucking pre-manufactured fucking arena that they had set up. But other than that, they do still get people. Is it anything in comparison to UFC? No. Dude, trust me, Saudi Arabia is in love with UFC. If they could have UFC as an official asset, dude, all they would really need is another big boxing brand like Golden Boy or something, or even something above that. And they would be set. There'd be really nobody to rival them with combat sports.
So since the market cap of TKO is $36 billion,
okay,
what do you think? In the Saudis, like that, let me look it up. Like, how much money is in the Saudi PIF? So Saudi PIF fund.
While you get that, I'm going to go to Garza, who was saying, cool. I don't know what's the deal with Kari Sane. To me, she's just boring. And I completely agree with you there.
I agree.
Bro does as well. And the reason why is because Kari Sane, she's always just been that leech that just hangs on the lip, on the hip of Asuka. And for all these fans to be outraged with, we want Kari, and, oh, did you hear the deafening chants? I'm like, I didn't see a sign. I maybe heard a piped-in chant or two. But no, it's like people don't give a shit about Kari Sane. It's just internet nerds who fucking care about her. And it's not like they give a fuck about her work rate. She had the sloppiest fucking elbow drop in the world. Looked like Raggedy Ann falling off the top rope. Let's be real. Kari Sane doesn't bring anything new to the table. At least I'll give her credit. With how they were booking her back in the day as a Sky Pirate, it's a goofy gimmick, but at least it's a gimmick at the end of the day. You could do goofy shit. I'm sure Vince could have had plans for Sky Pirate, not so much for Kari Sane, the Joshi from Japan, respect her in-ring work rate, you know? Fuck that shit.
Well, and the way I look at it too, the whole thing is like, I get people are kind of like, they're kind of sad about it, but the way I look at it is like, what else were they going to do?
She's just gonna fucking do Friendship and Betrayal with Asuka. Big deal. You know, you already know it's gonna go.
Like that's the whole thing. So like I'm looking right now at the Saudi PIF. So it's like she could end up in AEW, and you compare her with Mina Shirakawa or Hikaru Shida or whoever. But it's like it's not all over. Like there's no reason to be sad about it.
Yes.
But just look forward to like what's in her future. You know.
True, absolutely. So Super Bob was saying there's something seriously happening behind the scenes if Maxine and Cat Eating Ogre are still on the roster. And fair point. I mean, I can see where you're going with that, but even then, I don't think they're going to be there for much longer. At least with Natalya, I think they're going to be phasing out a lot of these old bitches. And the one thing that Maxine has going for her is she's pretty and she's young. And I'm sure TKO looks at that and like, yeah, we got to keep the pretty young girls. She's not the best mic worker by any means, or the best wrestler, but that's somebody who you could still use as a valet. There's still, like, if a normal dude is flipping through the channels and sees Maxine, he'll be like, she's got small tits, but at least she's pretty, you know? They'll be like, okay, let me see what this chick is doing. So it may not be your cup of tea, but a lot of people, I think, would still tune in to see her. That's what I'm saying. She's young. I could be wrong, but with Natalya, dude, just let her go to GCW, do her blood sport shit with fucking Shayna Baszler. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, or have her be like a trainer or something. Like you don't like, what good is Natalya going to give on TV? Oh, she's going to have a great match. Great.
Well, even then, it's a quote unquote good match that gets no heat from the crowd. She's not hot with the crowd anymore. Even with this fucking I'm going to play female Kurt Angle gimmick, you're not hot with the crowd. Might as well go to TNA, NWA, somewhere else, rebuild your career. Or, live out the rest of your career before you retire and then get rehired back by WWE as a coach. If she still wants to wrestle, you go do that. You go do Japan. Go do My Lady's Penis. Whatever the fuck you got to do. Go out there and wrestle. But, I still think there's a job for her as at least as a coach. She's a very good, snug pro wrestler. There's just nobody wants to pay to see her. So, just saying.
No, I mean, Natalya's not a draw. Like, no matter how you feel about Natalya, no matter how much you love her, she's not a draw. Like, you're not going to put Natalya on your card and sell one more ticket because of it.
Right. That's where we stand. At least with Maxine, I think that they look at, she's pretty, she's young. And I think that's really what TKO specifically is hyper-fixating on. Because this is a point that we made a while back, is that more than anything, WWE, they need to get in the youth movement now, because they're so far behind because of Triple H's lack of making stars over all the years. So I think they're finally on it. And I think that's what it's come down to. That's why you're seeing such a youth inflection. You're seeing so much youth come in right now is because they finally are like, yeah, dude, look at fucking our main event. We got this old meth head at the top. We got Cody. He's almost 40. Most of the main event is in their 40s, early 30s. It's like, something's got to change.
Something does have to change, and TKO is aware of it. Like, even they know it's like, this is not sustainable what Triple H is wanting to build. And a lot of the guys and girls that he let go, they're a bit on the older side too.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like with Malachi Black and Zelina Vega, they're not going to go on to be bigger stars than what they were. He's going to be Tommy End on the Indies again. He'll probably get resigned to I can see him go to TNA. Him and Zelina going to TNA, getting a prominent push, maybe being a TNA world champion. But that's going to be the absolute top of his career. Like, he's never going to go back to WWE, never going to go back to AEW. Just because, I mean, for one, I think that TKO doesn't see the money in him, and two, he pissed off Tony. So where are you going to go?
Seriously, like, where else are you going to go? Like, claiming, I'm having mental difficulties, I need to take a break off of TV, and then you see him on TV every week on WWE. He's a fucking lying little fucking snake-like prick.
Well, and it really pisses me off how many people took advantage of Tony, and I think he's finally gotten to the point where he's like, you know what, I'll forgive these people, but I don't forget. And I think that's where he's at. I think he's at, I'll forgive, but I don't forget what power play bullshit you did behind the scenes. It's fucked up, and good. I really hope that these guys, I don't want to see them jobless, and I know that they'll get jobs elsewhere, but they don't deserve another job in the big time if you burn bridges like that, just saying. No,
not at all. And that's the thing, is like, you can't, like, Tony Khan can't trust him anymore.
No. So, yeah, that's the way it is. So, yeah, I foresee the stock dropping even more. It's not going to rise. Especially with no sellouts on the horizon, no deals on the horizon. It's going to take more than The Rock and Stone Cold coming back, even on a full-time basis, to save what's going on right now. This is a massive bleeding wound. They're trying to tourniquet the best they can, and it just keeps on bleeding all over the place. So, good luck, TKO. We're rooting for you.
I'm rooting for you, but hey, there is an easy out. The Saudi PIF has over $1 trillion worth of assets in it. And, look, I mean, the Saudi PIF right now, they've already got a pretty big financial relationship with WWE. Like, a lot of the money that they're getting paid right now is coming from the Saudi PIF. So True. The logical next step would be, okay, we'll buy the company. Buy a private WWE, have that as an international asset, and there you go, man.
Yeah, so that's what's really going to take. I mean, it's going to take a big infrastructure change, whether it be Saudi, whether it be TKO selling off to another entity, or even Vince coming back in some way, shape, or form to kind of change stuff. But we haven't given up the hope. I know a lot of people have given up the hope. We have not given up the hope, because what we're doing is we're looking at all the small signs. Well, one thing we've known from working for as long as we have with conspiracies is we know to look out for red flags. We know to look out for signs. We know to look out for hints, for clues of shit going down. And then once it usually follows that track record, we're like, fuck, man, what'd we say?
And it's almost sometimes you just got to step back and look at the whole thing from a bird's eye view.
True. And that's how we are looking at it. Like, I don't want WWE to go down in a burning crash of flames. I don't want that. I'd rather that they realize their mistakes, rectify them, and do what's necessary to still keep us as fans, because we've said before, we want nothing more than to cover WWE and be fans of WWE. Like, we'd love to go to a WWE event. The last one we went to, what was it? It's been like 2015. It's been a long time, dude.
Long time, man. And we had fun when we went.
Yeah,
we had Vince years, man.
Yeah, we had fun. Even in NXT, dude. Like, the beginning of NXT, it wasn't too bad when we first started going to shows. But then we started seeing more of Noseman shitty booking, and we started seeing the future of the company, and we're like, dude, why the fuck is Vince giving this big nose dumb shit so much power? And then we see what happens with Janelle, and we're like, fuck, we get it. Shit.
Now it makes sense. That's why he had to step back. And honestly, like, him having to step back from Janelle, like, now it makes sense.
Absolutely. So, yeah, everything happens for a reason. This is all part of the plan. And just keep the faith, guys. I know it's hard. Just keep the faith. So, impromptu TWR News special report tonight. We just saw Vanguard. For those that just joining in right now, Vanguard Group sells 300,870 shares of TKO Group Holdings. Not good, especially when you know how powerful Vanguard is. If you've heard of the names Vanguard and BlackRock, you know they control everything. This is not some fucking just conspiracy talk. Go and look at their assets. Go and look at what they own. They own fucking everything. For them to be dipping out of WWE, they're obviously losing faith. Just saying.
It's them, and it's a lot of other people. And just look at the stock. Just look at the performance of the stock price. The fact that there was no bump for WrestleMania season like there was last year. The fact that they had to mark down ticket prices. That's not a theory. That's not like wishful thinking on my part. No, that actually happened. WWE had to mark down, for one night, they had to mark them down 31.6% for that Stone Cold Steve Austin promotion. The fact that they're marking down tickets that much signals weak demand. And if you have weak demand, what's the market going to, the market's going to look at that and go, yeah.
Well, especially if TKO has to start doing 2-for-1 packages, buy 3, get 1 free type of shit. That's not going to make them happy. Because they're losing out on profit. I mean, we've already seen the markdown on the SummerSlam tickets. We were talking about that on the Wednesday show, that they're already marking down tickets for SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. They're being forced to. They have no other choice because they know they won't be able to sell it out. They need to make some sort of profit back, and they know that they ain't going to do it with WrestleMania Vegas prices, so yeah, they need to chop it the fuck down. But for SummerSlam to be cutting tickets like that, it shows you that the WrestleMania experience did not work, the Triple H experience is not working, and yeah, they need to change something. Before sorry, go for it.
And I'm so sorry, but like in my opinion, the only thing that can fix this right now is going to be to bring The Rock back in, because that's the last time that it worked. Is when they brought in The Rock, they had a bump in ticket prices, or in ticket sales. My bad.
I'm personally feeling though, Rock is like, I'm not coming back until that big nose dipshit is out of there, because you have to look. That it went beyond just fake pro wrestling gay shit. I mean, because we already knew that Triple H and The Rock have hated each other since the Attitude Era. This is nothing new. They Triple H and Shawn Michaels tried to sabotage The Rock back in the day as Bush. This is nothing new. They've had a long-term hatred of each other. But they're like, hey, let's do business. Let's try to make things work. I think The Rock was willing to give him a second chance. Will he give him a third chance after he allowed his little golden boy to go ahead, his fan base to go ahead and send death threats to his daughter? After his golden boy trashed The Rock and his other golden boy, Seth Rollins, trashed The Rock and said, we don't need him. We don't need this piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here. Do you think he wants to run back and help them? I don't.
No, I don't think he wants to run back and help him. And that's the thing. And that's where the push is going to come to shove, man. Like a lot of people, they're like, Triple H is they're too stupid to realize the damage of what they've done.
I think TKO realizes it. Triple H is he's either blissfully unaware or he's so damn egotistical that he thinks he can't be touched. And I think the latter, honestly.
Same here. I think he's looking at it like, Nick Khan is on my side. I'm good. I'm safe. I'm protected. They just re-signed me to a deal because Nick Khan is my good old buddy, old pal. But at the end of the day, man, Nick Khan really can't save him in this regard.
Well, and what you have to understand is Nick Khan, for those that don't... Well, I agree, but what you have to understand, too, with Nick Khan, for those that don't know who this man is, he's a chameleon. He was on Vince McMahon's hip back in the day. He was his homie.
Yep.
And he sold him out like nothing for Triple H. You don't think he'd do that again?
Of course
he has no loyalty. I can keep in mind, who is Nick Khan's childhood friend, who he still talks to?
The Rock.
Boom.
And that's the thing, too, is that, at the end of the day, and the thing, they can still fire Triple H. They can still let him go. They can still terminate contracts. Just because they sign him to a contract extension does not mean that they can't go, you know what, you ain't getting the job done. We're going to have to terminate your contract.
I mean, I think it could very well be one of those things where they ask him to respectfully, we'll come up with the excuse of you need to take time off for the family or you're having a medical hiatus. I think they'll do all they can to protect his legacy since he's inserted himself as the face of the company and so many talents like him. I think they're going to do what they can to protect his legacy, but at the same time, it's going to be a situation, too, that they're going to protect their investment and they're going to try to make their money back. I mean, even if they got to spend some money to make some money like they're doing with these celebrities right now, they're going to try everything they can before it gets to the point that they have to force them out.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's the thing that will force their hand. I think the thing that will be the huge linchpin, WrestleMania to me was it was the signal of wow, things are really not okay. I think if SummerSlam if they have to do aggressive ticket markdowns and they still can't sell the venue out, that to me is the linchpin movement. And I think after that, you start seeing major changes in the company. You start seeing not Triple H. I don't think he's going to get fired immediately, but I do think you're going to see big names in that company being replaced, and creative changes for sure. Probably TKO bringing in The Rock. I think that when you see The Rock come back, that's the sign that Triple H's time there is coming to an end.
I think that's a good canary in the coal mine as well. When you see
Yep.
Rock come back to TV, that means that Triple H is either not there in Gorilla, or he's, just texting his ideas to one of his little butt boys. But that's what I see. I see it's a situation like that, where once The Rock comes back to TV, that's the canary in the coal mine that shit's fully going to change. And you just got to give it time, man. It's going to take a lot of failures in a row for them to be like, okay, Triple H, we wrote you up this time. That was a verbal. This time it's actual write-up. Okay, here's another write-up. And that's what you don't understand, too. Is like, when somebody that embedded in the company, you can't just go ahead and just can them just like that. You have to go through a formal process of writing them up, giving disciplinary action, and then seeing if they can improve. So that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, well, the thing, the reason why they have to be careful, because, look at all the advertisements that Triple H is on, how embed, all the podcasts that he goes on, how embedded, how a part of the brand of WWE he is, how embedded he is in the company. It's like, if you just immediately rip him out of there, you could make the stock price, you could make the stock volatile, which is why, what they have to do is you're already seeing it, they're overruling him more and more and more, and it's only going to get even worse and worse until they have to bring The Rock back. And if they're bringing The Rock back, The Rock's camp is now going to be the one that will be in charge now.
I mean, I think they're
under
making
this scenario.
Well, and that's the thing too. Is I know you said major changes would happen at SummerSlam. I personally feel them getting rid of Road Dogg,
Big.
Which is huge. Them getting two creative heads, one for SmackDown and one for Raw, which they didn't have before. It was just all under Triple H. The fact that they have two creative heads now for each brand, that's huge. They didn't have that before.
Well, and to point out, we were saying, back a few months ago, one of the things to look forward to, if you want to see if you want to know when Triple H is going to be, potentially let go or replaced, is look for the chairs being shuffled underneath him. Look for the creative writers being shuffled out from it, and that's what's happening. Road Dogg was fired. They're adding new writers here and there. They're having Ryan Ward be the head writer for SmackDown and Alexander Williams be for Netflix, and you're seeing constant shuffling over the pace. Celebrities being injected in. They're trying to find the right formula to make it work with Triple H, but at the end of the day, Triple H is just not the right guy for that role, and I think they're going to realize that. I think they realize it, but they're like, what do we if we try to get rid of him right now, it could really shake things up in a bad way.
True, and this is something I've talked to you about ratings. I talked to you about stock. I've talked to you about the investments and whatnot. Help me out with this. Coach was wondering, why should I care about the stock? I don't have any investment in this shit company.
Good point. That's a good question.
That's fair. That's fair. But help him out here.
Sure. So you shouldn't care about the stock if you shouldn't really care if you're invested
as a fan. We're different. We have to cover it, so it's different.
I look at it from the standpoint of, because that's what Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro care about, is the value of the company, and the stock price is a reflection of the value of the company. And if you see that stock price going down, that means that other companies aren't really valuing it like they used to, or maybe like they should. Depending on whose opinion. So the reason why we talk about the stock price is it's a metric that shows how much interest there is from the business community and from the investing community in TKO. If that stock is going up, that's usually a sign that they've achieved a new great deal. And you usually see that happen after TKO gets a new big deal with UFC and WWE. It's when you see that, the stock will pop up too. And that's another thing too that's factored into the stock as well, is the performance of UFC and then the deal that they got. So it may have not just been WWE's ESPN deal. It could have also been that huge Paramount deal as well. So the reason why I point to it is that the stock price is an indicator of how the business is doing. It's not a great indicator or a perfect indicator, but it is an indicator nonetheless. To me, it's a better indicator of how the company is doing than what the ratings are for from Nielsen to for the shows, right?
Right.
It's a much better indicator.
Let me hop in here. Let me hop in.
Please.
Okay. So, no, this is what I want to get to, is that you as a fan should not fucking care about the stock. You shouldn't care about even the ratings, especially if you've already tuned out of the company. That's where we come in. What we do is we're trying to explain to the fan base the ratings. lack of advertisers. Look who they have. The fact that they're having to put ads on fucking everything to make their money back.
Ticket price cut,
creative changes. This is a lot of stuff happening in a very short amount of time. Vanguard selling 300,000 shares. All we're trying to do is paint out the big picture for you. Don't focus on just the stock price. Focus on the big picture and all these things happening, especially right around post-Mania, when they usually do well. We even showed you on the graph. Let me bring back up the graph. That last year, they had that little pickup right after Mania.
Yep.
And but then, and then, we got a Netflix deal. Oh, but it sucks. Oh, we got an ESPN deal. Oh, but it fucking sucks. You know, and that's what we saw. And until the next step, which was here at Mania.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like, because even like last year, when you look, like, if you see that like Ultimate Warrior, it's like right underneath the YTD, right there. Right. That is WrestleMania, and you see like the dip right there, that little mesa, and then it dips, and then it shoots right back up. That second shoot up right there is WrestleMania.
True.
Okay.
No, for sure.
And then when you look over here, like right between the 5Y and the max, underneath that middle line, that drop is WrestleMania season,
which is just really bad. I'm sorry, that's really bad, and that's all we're trying to do. I will say this about Coach. I agree with everything you say. Cut the roster down. Mm-hmm. Amen. Decrease the women's wrestling, of course. Decrease the pay-per-views, yes. One night for WrestleMania and all pay-per-views, yes. 100%.
Absolutely, man. I totally agree with that. Well, and there's things that they could be cutting back on, and and that's the thing, is like that business drives what TKO does.
Right. They're all businessmen. Yeah.
Well, they're all they're not wrestling fans or you know, like we are. You know, they're business people, and they're looking at it from a business lens. Mm-hmm. And if the stock is going down, they may have to make change. They may have to bring in more celebrities. They may have to cut ticket price. They may have to do more things. And that's the thing, is that like the business side of things affects the product at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and that's all we're trying to. What we're trying to expose to you is angles that you wouldn't hear from other Mark Wrestling podcasters who focus all about just the surface shit, the in-ring, fucking what they see on X when they go on their feed. What we're showing you is the financial business side of how TKO is viewing things. It's a different side, and I know most wouldn't give a shit about it, but we're trying to show you why WWE's losing popularity, why they are having to make changes, why Triple H isn't forever, even though the dirt sheets are making him like he's forever. We're trying to paint a picture to not give up hope. That changes are being made as we speak right now, and they're for the better.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
True. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for this random TWR News live stream. We will be bringing another live stream to you guys real soon. What is it? Sunday for the news. So join us for the news on Sunday. So thank you for joining us, guys. NC.
JCN.
Peace out.